Big stick policy. TR's foreign policy speaks softly. Carry a big stick. You will go far. If you make the biggest military, you'll never have to use it. We become the police force because we got into everyone's business. Rough Riders. 1898. TR. Volunteer regiment. Helps win spam war. Propels him to presidency. Open door policy. Everybody gets to sell to China equally. May the best product win. This was capitalism. Free trade of goods in China amongst the industrial nations inside of it. Got rid of spheres of influence. Boxer Rebellion. 1899 to 1901. The official name was the Society of Righteous and Harmonious Fists, but we called them Boxers. They started a rebellion to kick out all other countries by breaking our stores and our products. They were sick of all the countries being inside of their country. USA and others send in the military to kill Chinese citizens. Alfred Thayer Mahan, author. The Influence of Sea Power Upon History. 1660 to 1883. If you're gonna be a global empire, you need a global navy. If you need to trade with your colonies, you need a navy to protect your trade ships. Queen Liliuokalani, last queen of Hawaii, threatened to remove foreign businesses. Sanford Dole and U.S. Marines overthrew her and Dole made himself governor. By 1959, Alaska and Hawaii entered the U.S. as states. Emilio Aguinaldo, leader of the Filipino uprising. He joined the USA to beat Spain. We trained his troops and gave them weapons. However, after they beat Spain, the US put up a flag they went against us. But the US destroyed them by torturing them, and then later the US gave them freedom. USS Maine. The 15th of February 1898. William Hearst immediately blamed the Spanish and used yellow journalism. This is why the Spam War started. Battleship that mysteriously sank while evacuating Americans from Cuba. Gentleman's Agreement. 1907. In San Francisco, CA. There were many Japanese people. So the US said they would protect the people because at the time the US was racist. And Japan would regulate how many would come here. Great White Fleet 1907. TR once was in the Navy and convinced the US to create a global Navy fleet. Muscle flexing voyage around the world to show our power. Zimmermann note. 1917. Germany knew they needed another ally to fight the US, and German Arthur Zimmermann sent a telegram to Mexico, first stopping in London where it was intercepted by Brits. They decided to alert the US and asked for a declaration of war. Sussex Pledge. Germany promised not to sink any more boats without warning. Broke it and was one of the causes of the US joining World War I. 14 points. Wilson's plan for peace. After we get involved in the war, Wilson draws up 14 plans for peace which included MAIN, which was ironic since those were the causes. On the 14th point, he calls for the League of Nations, an international peacekeeping body. Lusitania. 1915 luxury cruiser boat that was sunk because the US was using it to smuggle weapons to the Brits. The Germans sank it and killed many civilians. Committee on Public Information. CPI. George Creel created this, and this created a lot of propaganda to convince the peaceful nation to make it want to join the army and go to war. Creation of Uncle Sam. Dehumanize the enemy, making them easier to kill. Created the 4-Minute Men, which were speech givers to spread propaganda. Espionage Act and Sedition Acts. 1917. 1918. Espionage Act was made so that people couldn't spy, and if found severe enough, you could be sentenced to 10 years in prison or death penalty if you were told it was treason. The Sedition Act was to make sure you can't speak out against the US. Schenck v. United States. 1919. Schenck said you don't have to fight and was handing out flyers. Then Schenck was going to be sent to prison because he violated the Sedition Act. This went to the Supreme Court and there was 9-0. USA 1. You don't have free speech if what you say makes a clear and present danger. 19th Amendment. Keep from last chapter. Women can vote. League of Nations. 1920. Formed to resolve international problems among nations. Led to World War II. Treaty of Versailles. Winner. USA, UK, France, Italy. Loser. Germany, Austria, Hungary, Ottomans. Significance. They needed to punish the losers. Wilson brought up his 14 points. All the other 3 winning countries said no, but Wilson was able to negotiate and get his League of Nations. Said it was a peace treaty, but it was for punishment and revenge. Many new countries were made. 14. A course for World War II in 20 years. Herbert Hoover, future president, created the Food Plus Fuel Administration. Created it to ration to save food for all of the soldiers overseas. They also started to recycle things to create it into resources used in the war. They were using peer pressure to make more people do the same thing. 4 causes of World War I. Militarism, alliances, imperialism, nationalism, MAIN. 2 reasons for anyone to become a colonial power. Natural resources, overseas markets. How did the Spanish-American War come about? Spain was dying and Cuba wanted independence. The Spanish killed and tortured many Cuban leaders. Cuba asked the US for help but we said no, so this led to US sugarcane fields to be burnt down. Send a battleship to get the citizens, then the boat explodes and we declare war. Turns out we blew up our own boat because there was an accident, because when the engine got hot, all the ammunition exploded, killing 250 Americans. Main significances. Treaty of Paris 1898. We get Spain's territories, PR, and Guam, Philippines. Military bases in Cuba. Made the US an empire. Made TR famous. Americans brought enthusiasm to the war. Americans joined the war between 1917 to 1918. Germany made one last-ditch effort. When the battle was lost, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicated, left Germany, the 11th of October 1918. Troops don't wanna fight anymore. Fighting ends. The 11th of November 1918 at 11 o'clock am. Treaty of Versailles comes. 7/1919. Winner. USA, UK, France, Italy. Loser. Germany, Austria, Hungary, Ottomans. Significance. They needed to punish the losers. Wilson brought up his 14 points. All the other 3 winning countries said no, but Wilson was able to negotiate and get his League of Nations. Spanish-American War. 100% 2/1898. The USS Maine sank and W.R. Hearst said that it was Spain's fault. This led to the US joining the Spam War. Spain was dying and Cuba wanted independence. The Spanish killed and tortured many Cuban leaders. Cuba asked the US for help but we said no, so this led to US sugarcane fields to be burnt down by Cuba. Send a battleship to get the citizens, then the boat explodes and we declare war. Turns out we blew up our own boat because there was an accident, because when the engine got hot, all the ammunition exploded, killing 250 Americans. Hearst immediately blamed Spain, leading to us joining the war. T. Roosevelt quit his high-ranking job to join the Rough Riders to help Cuba. Rough Riders were first volunteer group to join Spam War. William Randolph Hearst quote, "You furnish the pictures, I'll furnish the war." Main significances. Treaty of Paris 1898. We get Spain's territories, PR, and Guam, Philippines. Military bases in Cuba. Made the US an empire. Made TR famous. Battle cry. Remember the Maine. To hell with Spain. William Randolph Hearst quote to his photographer, "You furnish the pictures, I'll furnish the war." Emilio Aguinaldo. Also fighting Spain, so he got US support. Hawaii. 50% Queen Lily. Last Queen Monarch of Hawaii threatened to remove foreign businesses. Sanford Dole and US Marines overthrew her and Dole made himself governor. By 1959, Alaska and Hawaii entered the US as states. Becomes important because of its location, since it's a pit stop to China, mid-Pacific Ocean and a refueling spot. Foreign companies kept buying up Hawaii's land. Save Hawaii for Hawaiians. China. Why China? Consumers. They had a massive market. Spheres of influence. Certain areas were controlled by certain countries where their products were sold. Becomes the open door policy. Open door policy. May the best country product win. Pure capitalism. This led to the Boxer Rebellion, which the people broke, destroyed everything that was foreign. Then the rebellion is put down by multiple countries. USA, GB, FR, Russia, Germany. John Hay proposed the open door policy. Panama Canal. A canal to save 9,000 miles by going through Central America. Panama is not a country before the canal. France told Colombia to build canal through the region called Panama. USA plus GB had a deal to work together, but the French tried to do it first, but they got yellow fever and malaria, so they went home. So the US tried to build it again, but Colombia said no, so a guy from the Panama region got support from the US to gain independence. Then the canal was created. Panama is now a country because Colombia told TR no. TR just took over that region of Colombia. A man, a plan, a canal. Panama. Our boats got too big, so we gave the canal to Panama in 2000. American imperialism. 1880. 1910. Economic. Larger industries need more resources. Nationalism. Competition creates a rise in nationalism. Military. Need for bases plus stations to protect. Business plus refuel ships. Marine is the reason we had a navy. Humanitarian. The Great White Way. Good reasons like saving Hawaii, etc. Have to spread democracy. Capitalism. Christianity. Whitewashed racism. Need an economy. Need military to protect economy. Causes of World War I. 1914. 1919. A. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand from Austria, Hungary. A 19-year-old from Serbia shot him and his wife. His name was Gavrilo Princip and he didn't want to see his country join Austria. M. Militarism. Great White Fleet. Entangling alliances, Central Powers. Germany. AH. Ottoman Empire. Allies. GB French. USA. Italy. I. Imperialism. N. Nationalism. Created the Olympics in 1896. America enters World War I. Lusitania. 1915. Smuggling weapons to GB, then Germany found out and sank it. 128 Americans died and the Germans kept sinking boats. Break Sussex Pledge. 1917. Germany promised to not sink boats without warning, but they broke the pledge and sunk every boat they saw. Zimmermann note. 1917. Germany wanted Mexico to join them to fight the USA, but GB intercepted it and cracked, allowing them to decipher it. USA joined war. Enforce loyalty. 1917. Committee on Public Info. George Creel. Propaganda. Uncle Sam. Posters. Songs. He hired 75,000 paid actors to scare people in the cities. Songs were made by the 4-Minute Men. Food Plus Fuel Administration Act. Herbert Hoover. Peer pressure. Recycle and ration. Changed timing to save fuel. Daylight savings. Victory Gardens. Wheatless Wednesdays. Meatless Monday. Etc. This worked. Espionage plus Sedition Acts. Espionage Act was spying. 10 years life. The Sedition Act was about speech. Anything detrimental to the war effort. Schenck vs. US 1919. 9-0 loss. Clear and present danger. Get rid of free speech. If your words cause danger for other people or hurt the war effort, it's a crime. Fire in movie theater example. End of war. Wilson's 14 points 1917. 1. Wilson's plan for peace. 2. MAIN. 3. Create League of Nations. 14th. The 11th of November 1918. On the 11th of October 1918, German Kaiser quits. Next day, Armistice Day. Germans quit. Treaty of Versailles. 1919. Big Four. USA, UK, France, Italy. All the countries besides US didn't want to accept the plan for peace, so they settled on the League of Nations. Punishment, not peace. Set the stage for another war. Countries still wanted to imperialize.